You believe your financial life is your own, that your choices are free. You are mistaken. Over 2 millennia ago, Plato described a prison, not of stone and steel, but of perception. His allegory of the cave wasn't merely a philosophical exercise, it was a chilling prophecy of the human mind's profound vulnerability to illusion. Today, that same vulnerability is the bedrock of a global financial system, a system meticulously designed to chain you with invisible fears and manufactured desires, keeping you a willing prisoner in their cave of debt and deceit. Plato spoke of prisoners in an underground den, chained since childhood, facing a blank wall. Behind them, unbeknownst to them, a fire burns. And between the fire and the prisoners, puppeteers walk, holding up figures, casting shadows on the wall. Plato tells us they see only their own shadows or the shadows of one another, which the fire throws on the opposite wall of the cave. For these prisoners, the shadows are reality. What are your financial shadows? They are the seductive images of wealth and success projected by a system that thrives on your participation. Consumer debt, rebranded as good debt or financial tools, the mortgage that feels more like a life sentence, the credit card that promises convenience but delivers servitude, the illusion of wealth flaunted on social media, driving you to acquire symbols while true assets remain out of reach, the hollow promise of security in a traditional career path that often offers little more than a gilded cage, demanding your life force for flickering digits on a screen. Mainstream financial news. Often it's just more sophisticated shadow play designed to create activity, to generate fees, to steer you towards the consensus, their consensus. Economist Irving Fisher identified what he termed the money illusion, our tendency to focus on the nominal value of money, the number on the banknote rather than its real purchasing power, a power constantly eroded by the silent, relentless fire of inflation. The financial puppeteers count on you mistaking these flickering numbers, these fleeting shadows, for genuine, enduring wealth. They rely on your fear, the fear of missing out, the fear of scarcity, the fear of not measuring up to the projected illusions. You feel it, don't you? That gnawing anxiety that no matter how hard you labor, true financial peace remains elusive. That is the friction of the chains. That is the discomfort of a mind beginning to suspect the shadows are not the whole truth. Plato's allegory begs the question, who are these puppeteers? Who tends the fire and orchestrates the show on your financial wall? In our world, they are manifold. Financial institutions that design complex products more beneficial to them than to you. Predatory lenders who thrive on desperation. Mass media narratives that relentlessly equate consumption with happiness and debt with normalcy. Even elements within governmental structures, content with a populace distracted by material pursuits and managed through economic cycles of boom and bust, they meticulously craft the narrative. You need a perfect credit score. This is a once-in-a-lifetime deal. Everyone is doing it. These are the carefully chosen words of the puppet masters, their whispers echoing in the cave, ensuring the shadows remain compelling, your focus diverted. Consider the very nature of modern fiat currency. It is, in essence, a sophisticated shadow. Its value derived not from any intrinsic worth, but from collective belief and government decree, a belief they cultivate and control. Inflation, that invisible erosion of your savings, is not an accident. It's a feature, a subtle tool wielded by the keepers of the monetary fire, transferring wealth silently from the unaware to the architects of the system. The banking system itself, built on fractional reserve, literally creates money out of debt. Think about that. The more debt exists, the more money circulates, the more profit they generate from the interest on the very chains they so generously provide you. This isn't a conspiracy theory. It's a documented reality of how our financial world is structured, a reality they prefer you don't examine too closely. They offer you an umbrella when the sun shines and demand it back the moment it starts to rain. The truth they actively conceal is that the game is often rigged in favor of those who print the money, who write the rules, who control the narrative. Your financial literacy, your critical thinking, these are direct threats to their shadow play. Plato describes the excruciating process. if a prisoner is freed and forced to confront the light. And suppose once more that he is reluctantly dragged up a steep and rugged ascent and held fast until he's forced into the presence of the sun himself. Is he not likely to be pained and irritated? This is the experience of true financial awakening. It is not a gentle epiphany. It is a painful uprooting of deeply ingrained beliefs. The common financial wisdom you've absorbed your entire life, save in a bank account, trust the experts, work hard and you'll succeed, begins to crumble. This creates cognitive dissonance, discomfort, even fear. The societal pressure to conform is immense. When you begin to question the shadows, to speak of financial truths that deviate from the norm, you will be met with resistance, ridicule, even hostility, often from fellow prisoners who mistake their chains for comfort. "You're being too negative," they'll say. "That's just how the world works." They are the defenders of the cave, for the known illusion is less terrifying than the unknown reality. Cognitive biases, as described by thinkers like Daniel Kahneman, act as internal jailers. Confirmation bias makes you seek out information that validates your current financial traps. Herd mentality pulls you towards popular, often disastrous financial decisions, because if everyone is doing it, it must be right. Mustn't it? Your own mind, conditioned by years in the cave, fights against your liberation. The pervasive fear of scarcity, relentlessly programmed into you by the shadow makers, drives impulsive consumption and desperate financial gambles. To step out of the cave is to confront this fear directly, to learn that true abundance is not found in the accumulation of more shadows, but in the clarity of purpose and the sovereignty of mind. If you've ever felt that the financial game is rigged, that the advice you receive is self-serving, that something is profoundly, fundamentally wrong with our collective relationship with money, you are not losing your mind. You are merely beginning to see the flickering of the fire, the outlines of the puppeteers, the cold, hard bars of your self-imposed cell. This discomfort is the first sign of waking up. The journey towards the light, towards what Plato called the form of the good, is arduous. In financial terms, this sun is not a secret investment tip or a get-rich-quick scheme. It is financial truth. It is self-awareness. It is understanding the fundamental nature of money, not as a god to be worshipped, but as a tool to be mastered. It means learning to distinguish genuine assets, those things that generate value and freedom, from the liabilities and trinkets paraded as status symbols. It means understanding the immense power of compound growth, not just of your capital, but of your knowledge. It means redefining wealth not by the shadows you possess, but by the freedom you command. Freedom of time, freedom from fear, freedom to pursue a life of meaning. This financial clarity requires you to relentlessly question societal pressures, to define your own metrics for success, independent of the cave's projections. It demands rigorous self-education, skepticism towards mainstream narratives, and the courage to walk a path less traveled. The truth, the financial puppeteers do not want you to discover, is that you can become your own financial authority. But this path is not for the faint of heart. It requires discipline, critical thought, and the willingness to stand alone against the chorus of the cave. It's a painful, often solitary re-education in how the world of money truly operates, stripped of the comforting lies spun by those who benefit from your financial slumber. Plato's cave is not a relic of ancient philosophy. It is your current financial reality, unless you consciously, painfully choose to see. The shadows are designed to be seductive, the chains forged to feel like comfort. But the truth, however blinding at first, however unsettling, is the only path to genuine financial sovereignty. The journey out is arduous. The financial puppeteers and the other prisoners will not want you to leave. They will call you back to the familiar darkness. But you've now been warned. The choice to seek the light, to question every shadow, every assumption about money, debt, and wealth is now yours. Keep seeking. Keep questioning. Your freedom depends on it.